Hi, I'm Jonathan Roberts.
Hi, I'm Pamela Fong.
And this is Real Estate, where we look at some of the interesting property news in the past week. So Pamela, what are your picks?
My pick this week is the Malaysian property market is expected to be soft for the next 6 to 9 months due to the uncertain outlook in demand and slow uptake in the new launches, especially for those who, the Malaysians that falls under B40 income level category.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on this though? Like the next 6 to 9 months.
B40 is it's a very tricky situation because there's not a lot of offerings in the market for them as well. Or actually there are.
It's just like
but
Prima.
Even they have difficulty with financing for these Prima homes and such.
I call up Siva Shankar, the immediate past president of Malaysia Institute of Estate Agent, and he has some comments over what he thinks about those developers building properties over 1 million.
The developer is a capitalist, he would go and build what sells. Of course, there is a bit of saturation in that sector of the market. Unfortunately, for them, they continue to build and continue to plan for these properties long after the demand had already dissipated. Because of that, we now see an oversupply of this range of properties where the buyers and the sellers are not equal.
Thank you, Mr. Siva Shankar. So, what do you think about what Mr. Shankar said about
what he said actually makes sense. I mean, it's easy to everyone wants to point their finger at someone, and the developers are more often than not the bad cops, because they are the ones building homes. But if they get land at a very expensive cost, as well as with compliance costs and labor costs going up, if they really build affordable homes like as what we define it, which is like about 300,000, I don't think they're going to make much returns on their investments. So developers are businesses as well.
You see, but nobody actually put a price range between what is affordable and what's not affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
So we actually asked Mr. Shankar about this too. So let's have a look at what he said.
No one has actually defined affordable housing. You talk to 10 different people in the property industry and they'll give you 10 different answers. Some people say affordable housing is 150 to 250. Some say 250 to 500,000. How do you solve a problem if you haven't even begun to define the problem? We're investing in the land and then we are going ahead to plan the building. And then we realize that the cost of the land plus the cost of the building plus the cost of my profit is X. And I can never sell my property below this X. And because I don't have a definition of what affordable housing is, I just go ahead and sell it at X.
Yeah, so I think Mr. Shankar has a point, like nobody actually put a price tag on that. And what is affordable for you?
Because the definition of affordable housing is so vague. I don't know, what's your thought on affordable housing?
I think 3 to 400,000 is actually my affordable.
But developers say 500 to 600.
Yeah, I mean the market price now it's around
so
there.
Why don't you tell us what is affordable to you?
Okay, so what about you? What's your pick this week?
Oh, my pick is actually on Malaysian malls, the future of Malaysian malls, and how are they going to stay relevant. So in this article, actually JLL Property Management says that malls are expected to remain resilient, but they're not necessarily thriving in spite of the fact that you see new malls cropping up every weekend. And do you realize that every time I drive past a road, I just see a new mall?
Yeah, a new mall, but I never really pay visit to malls, except for the big ones like Mid Valley.
Another article said that we actually have 255 malls in Greater KL alone, and there are more to come. So perhaps we have too many. Growing density is a huge problem. So we actually talked to Henry Butcher, Retail Managing Director, Mr. Tan Hai Shin, on the future of Malaysian malls. Are they staring at a very bleak future? And here's what he has to say.
Are Malaysian malls staring at a bleak future? The answer is no. The most important problem faced by shopping malls in Malaysia was the severe reduction in consumer spending due to the rising cost of living and weak economic condition. This was the main reason that led to the drops in the average occupancy rate and the average rental rate for the last 1.5 years. This has affected even the most popular shopping centers in Klang Valley. Oversupply was only the second reason. Klang Valley has been facing retail oversupply for the last 8 years, However, oversupply is location specific. There is oversupply of retail space in Kuala Lumpur city centre, in Petaling Jaya, Damansara, Cheras. On the other hand, this situation is not apparent in Klang, Bangi, Kajang, and Kepong.
So I think that's very interesting what he says. Oversupply is location specific, so it's not everywhere that's oversupply. And another thing is why malls are struggling to retain their tenants is because people are simply not spending. So what are your thoughts? I find this thing very intriguing because people say malls are dying, but every weekend, each time I go to a mall, I still spend like half an hour in the parking lot
Finding parking.
So
I think it depends which malls you go to.
I think people go to malls generally, but they're just not spending enough to keep the retail stores.
Yeah, I think you know
happy.
what? It's probably because of e-commerce too.
Yeah.
A lot of people shop
and
online.
I actually asked Mr. Tan as well on if e-commerce is actually going to disrupt shopping malls, and just play the clip and see what he has to say.
They are disrupting retail store at the moment. More and more consumers are buying online instead of actually at a store. So the store is actually competing with actually online retailers right now. But this is not uniquely taking place in Malaysia, but around the world. It's happening in Asia, in Pacific, in North America, and Europe.
Yeah.
So not exactly happening yet in Malaysia. I think because traditional Malaysians we still want touch and feel before we purchase a product, but it's definitely going to come. And
I do agree because like I use a lot of skincare product and I still need to feel the quality of the skincare product before I buy it because it's very important in girls and skins like that.
But what Mr. Tan also said, which I found very interesting, is how shopping malls, the next generation of shopping malls, can actually stay relevant. And he said what they have to do is integrate modern technology with their tenants to provide unique physical environment. So,
like how?
You know an Apple store?
Yeah.
Have you seen all those cool Apple stores or the
it's
lights
all
and
around
stuff?
all the malls actually.
So you actually have to provide a very unique shopping environment. So it's no longer you just go in there, look at the products, touch and feel and chow. They have to embrace instead of fight technology. That's what he said. That's what the key takeaway is. Retail stores and shopping malls have to embrace it and not resist the rise of e-commerce.
Well, but it seems like there's oversupplies of everything, the properties, the malls. But one thing that is not oversupply right now is playhouses.
Right.
Playhouses is... do you grow up with playhouses in Malaysia? I don't think
no.
any Malaysia places have
I think
playhouses,
our generations,
right?
our playhouses were the trees outside our house. We just climbed on trees and it felt like a great thing.
Yeah, well, NBS Corporation, they started this thing called the ready-made playhouses for families that they actually come over to your house and they build houses, playhouses for your kids, so that parents pay so much attention into interior and exterior design when they buy a new house, but they never thought of like baby proofing the place or like building a place for their kids to play around. And we have to go to the playground, which is, I'm not complaining, I grew up in a playground, but it's far away from home, you have to walk and things like that. But the question is, if let's say he bring in all these playhouses to all the Malaysian family, so will it cause the properties to actually the market of properties to actually rise, especially the prices?
Value of the property.
Yeah, the value
it's
of
very interesting because I don't know if it's it's very subjective. Maybe some families, if they have a large family with lots of kids, they might find playhouses outside their house.
Yeah, I would like that. I have 5 nieces and nephews.
Yeah, but
my
then
house
you have
is like
people
a
like
house
me,
right now.
who don't want kids running around my house or anywhere near my house. So I don't want them anywhere. Yeah, so like I don't know if I would want that feature in my house. So.
But we did ask Vicky House. She's from Propedia Consultancy, and she's the principal of Propedia Consultancy. We asked her about the playhouses and if this can bring up the price of a property, and this is what she has to say.
If from the valuable point of view, this is not something concrete. It will have additional of some value, but it is very subjective because this kind of value actually depends on what kind of people who like to have this property. When you sell the property, you have to make sure that the other parties who have got children who likes this, and eventually it will add on to the value. It also depending on the material cost. For example, in the future, if the price of the wood is going to go up, because all these are wood material, So this also will add on to the value for the property.
What I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
it's very subjective because I don't know. Do you want many kids? Because I actually asked
I
around
do.
the office. A lot of people are like, oh no, I don't want. I just want one kid or not at all.
Yeah.
You know, I want
But I do think it's a good idea. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a great initiative, lah.
Yeah.
We definitely welcome something
Yeah.
like this. All right, and this is the end of the reel. Like our Facebook page to keep up with all things real. And I'm Jonathan Roberts.
and I'm Pamela Fong.
See you next time.